Hey everybody, hey, welcome back to the 53206 cast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Meg.
And this is a podcast specifically designed to help us engage in the process of rethinking our inner city spaces. Meg, what's new?
I feel like it just snowed today, which I'm excited about.
Okay.
So that's new. But I've been working a lot on the, so I got that scholarship from Florette for, to create a more beautiful 53206 to help create.
Florette's a flower farm
Yes.
in Washington.
Washington,
State.
Yeah. And so I got a scholarship to do the trainings, and they are just incredible. So I've been just very excited about, originally we were just going to do like kind of this one space. And now I'm like, I think we needed two or three new spaces.
Just adding it. We were hanging out with your parents, and your dad said, does that just mean more work for me,
Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, but
Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool.
You just need to help create the fences. So that's it.
I just need to build everything that you want.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do the rest. But so that's been just really, really fun. And then starting a few seedlings. So that's just been fun in the basement, and everything's ready for when I'm like gonna like actually start. Other than I need to find something that heats the space a little bit more. So we need to heat the basement a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So find some space heaters or find something.
Sure. I'm sure I can manage something.
I feel like you can help that. But it's been really fun to think about. We're going to have a whole beautification team again this year with We Got This. And I'm just really excited to beautify the space more. It was fun. I was talking with a friend the other day, and just, she was like, oh, what? She was basically like, what's the beautification team going to create? And, I was like, it's going to just create like more beauty. And I think when I think of our neighborhood, I think a lot of people don't see the value in it. And I think a lot of people here sometimes don't feel valued. And I feel like creating more flowers, creating more beauty, will just help people see the beauty all around,
Sure.
and really help people here know that they're valued.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited for it.
Yeah. Now, Meg, we were sitting down to do 2 podcasts because you've got a big weekend ahead of you next weekend.
Yeah.
We try to do one of these a week.
Yeah.
Meg, I almost feel like this is part 2. Could we just do them in reverse?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
So I really like where you were going with that. Because, in the process of writing the book Bad Neighborhoods, which is available on podcast feeds, this would be, since this is part 2, that would be 2 weeks ago. We put out a chapter of the book. The New Slumlord, I think, was the one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And part of what I was trying to do with the book was to try to. I hear a lot of people talk about wanting to be an activist, or wanting social change. Because I think an activist is somebody that enacts social change.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked it up, but maybe it's from like going through the process of figuring out our finances, or going through the process of becoming a person that runs every day. I know that like that whole concept of going from like, I want this thing to be true about me, to making it actually be true. It's complicated. It's not, it's incredibly simple. You just go do this thing.
Yeah.
But
you create a system that helps you do that every single day.
Sure.
Helps you do that more.
Right. Exactly. Like, so for me, I hope this doesn't sound douchey. I don't even know if I can say douchey on the podcast. I guess our podcast, say whatever I want. But I want to be more physically fit as I get older and older and older. And so I know that in order to do that, I have to work out, as much or more, that I did 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year. And I know part of that is then saying yes when opportunities come up to do like a marathon, because in order to get ready for a marathon, you have to like run a bunch,
you have to train.
right? You have to train for it. And so like, I know for me, and this wouldn't work for everyone, but I know just because I know myself that if I want to be physically ready to go do a marathon, I 3 months out have to start getting ready to go do that.
Yeah.
And then so in my schedule, I organize times for like my normal daily run, and then I add in ones for longer runs that progressively increase as we get closer.
And I think like a cool part that I feel like I didn't know about this process, because I'm going through this with a friend, and she's like helping me figure out like basically like my goals, but like what are your barriers to that?
Sure.
And so like I feel like that's something I didn't think about. Like I want to be able to like garden a whole bunch this summer, and she's like, well, what's holding you back? Well, my back really hurts. Okay. Well, you actually like that's a huge barrier. Like
sure,
you need to fix that. You need to figure out how to fix your back so that it doesn't hurt. And like I feel like that's something that I feel like me and you don't talk about that often, with like what are the barriers, and like you even talk about like what is the first step, and sometimes it's hard to get to the first step because you don't even know what the first step is.
Yeah.
So the barriers, I feel like I just wanted to put that caveat in there.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like one of the first steps would be you kind of have this, and I think anybody that's socially justice minded has like this ideal in their head, or they have like something that they want to see happen.
Yeah, an ideal that they want that better.
Right. Yeah. And that ideal, they have like a vision of like, well, when we arrive at this, it'll be more like this. Yeah. And so, for you, it was, you started the conversation today with saying, well, I want you were talking about the neighborhood beautification team, right? And, that team of kids came out of the idea that you want the neighborhood to be more beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, beauty is subjective. You could, if you were an artist, you probably would paint things, or I don't know what artists do, but you would do artist type things.
Yeah.
And so now you found something that you want to see more of. And conversely, like there's something you want to see less of.
Yeah.
And specifically, you probably want to see like less vacant lots with like stuff dumped on them, and you want to see less spaces that just don't look like they're taken care of.
Yeah.
And that when even if you plant a small box, 4x8 box of flowers, like it makes it look so much nicer.
Yeah.
Right. It takes it from just an empty lot to, there's something here, and there's
something of value.
Yeah, something of value there, right? So, you started that process by saying, I want the neighborhood to be more beautiful. Now, luckily, you have access to over 100 4th through 12th graders for 12 Saturdays in the summer. And so it was easy for you to say, okay, I, Meg, want the neighborhood to be more beautiful. I have talked to other people that also would like the neighborhood to be more beautiful.
Which I feel like is another important thing to like make sure that other people in the community actually want that.
Yeah, because you don't actually do social change if you just do the thing that you want.
Yeah.
You can't let that be. You talked about barriers. You can't let that be a barrier, because then you'll just second guess every single thing that you do. Which is why if you can kind of boil down your inner
like mission
calling to something that's even just general and broad. Like if I said, okay, well, I want the educational opportunities for kids in my neighborhood to be better. There's like that ideal. Well, that ideal can take like 1,000 different forms.
Yes. It could be just, I'm going to read with kids. On Wednesday nights, I'm going to come and read with kids.
Right. Yeah. But I would never look down on somebody that wanted the educational opportunities to be better for the kids in the neighborhood, but didn't want to read with kids on Wednesday nights because they wanted to go do some other thing that they thought was going to impact the change. Because they wanted to go to
like the educational system.
Sure, whatever.
And like, try to get something.
So you said, okay, well, I want the neighborhood to be more beautiful. The next thing you did was you looked around and you found out what you have access to. And so you quickly were able to figure out, well, the lot by the liquor store, there's a lot that used to be a garden that isn't currently being gardened on. I know many people in the neighborhood that would probably like flowers in their yard, and my team can go and help with that.
People,
And so you quickly and also you said, well, I have this. I take a group already on Saturdays that we got this, and so I can have 12 or 15 kids walk around the neighborhood with me. And so that you took your ideal, you went from ideal to, okay, I'm going to try this one thing. So you went from like big, macro level to I want the neighborhood to be better to I want to do this very specific thing within my neighborhood. you did that in line with things that you already like.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Yeah.
And that you wanted to do more of. And then you continued to look for opportunities to expand that.
Yeah. And I would have to say there's some bumps in the road, you know, and like, I feel like that is part of like the you know, helping create social change. Everything's not going to go perfect. You know, like when we talk about the beautification team and like planting stuff, like stuff got mowed several times. Like it was very hard.
Yeah, City of Milwaukee has, you know, they contract somebody to cut the grass.
Yeah.
And if the stuff's not in boxes, it
gets
could
mowed.
Get mowed.
And so like I feel like now it's like kind of part of like the design thinking process. Like, okay, well that didn't work. What do we need to do now so it doesn't get mowed when we replant?
Yeah. By the way, did you ever talk to the crew that got the contract to mow? I'm sure it was this group of people that mowed the plants, the flowers on that lawn. Did you ever talk to that group?
No.
They're awesome.
Really?
Yeah, they were super cool. It was like a couple of 16-year-olds that would like zoom around on those big zero-turn riding lawnmowers. I
saw them, but I never.
They were so hardworking.
Really?
Yeah, they were awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not their fault at all. I'm like, it's
not really anybody's.
You know,
fault.
And like, it ended up being a learning experience. And like, there's gonna be ups and downs when we're trying to make the world a little bit better. And
that was a big down. I hadn't seen you that down in. You were pretty upset.
I was so upset.
Yeah.
I cried for like 2 days. Like I think we found out about it on a Thursday, and I'm like, I don't think I can garden on Saturday. Like I was really having, oh man, and I don't know if I just hadn't cried in a while or like it was something hormonal, but
whatever.
Oh my gosh, it was. I remember like I feel like didn't you reached out to like your I think you reached out to Betsy and was like, is Meg okay? Like,
but I mean, okay, so you should, so let's say that you've got your ideal and you found a pathway to live out that ideal. Like, yeah, don't think that it's all good. It's always going to be sunshine and rainbows every time, because it's not. Like, let's say that you thought like, okay, I'm going to support a black-owned. Like, let's say that you were like, okay, you have some experience as an entrepreneur. You have. Or at least like you like to shop.
Yeah.
And like you're very thoughtful about where you shop, and so you've decided that you're going to support black-owned businesses. Some black-owned businesses are going to be awesome. Some black-owned businesses aren't going to be awesome, probably at the same rate that white-owned businesses are great and not so great. It's going to happen.
Well, and I think like when we think about like trying to make the world just and fair, like there's definitely spots in the world where like people haven't gotten the resources they need. So like it's not going to be a great experience, but like you're there to try to give them resources so that they can make it a better experience.
Sure. Yeah. And again, when you have to be very careful, because you go and do something. So you have this calling within you that says, I want the world to be this specific way. Many people have that. Many people do. In fact, I would say it wouldn't surprise me if nearly everybody has that. Some people want to see the world different. Some people want to hold on to the way that they think that the world is currently, or used to be back in my day.
Sure.
And so then people have that calling, and they want to take action, and they want to do that, but it's never going to be like the good feelings that you get from it. Let that surprise you.
Yeah.
Don't give to an organization because you think that's going to make you feel better, because it might not. You might find out something about them that you don't like, or go ahead.
Yeah, and I was like waiting. And I think like I feel like I have to do this often, because like I feel like I do seek out black-owned businesses, and a lot of times I like, I'll go and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna like post this on Instagram, and it's gonna be like, so like I feel like total, I feel douchey saying this, but like this is how I go. And so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna post this on Instagram. It's gonna be like, it's gonna inspire everyone to do this. And then like I like have this bump in the road, and I'm like, and I feel like it's a great like self-check. Like, are you doing this because like you want to make the world a better place, or are you doing this because you want to make yourself feel better? Because like we can't be self-serving. Like I feel like even with like this beautification program, like if other people in the neighborhood didn't like it, like, and it's only serving me, like that's not good. That's not like helping anybody. Like even if I really think like this is a really good idea, but like nobody wants it, or like Or
I mean, and if you are the type of person that really only wants to be self-serving and you go and do something good, I mean, that's fine. I would just caution anybody that when I think about the work that I do with the rentals, like there's so much work on the front end, like redoing this house that I'm doing. It has been my project. It will have been when I'm done, the project that I've been working on in my free time, or I've organized my entire work schedule around getting this thing done for 18 months. That's a long time. It's a long time for to be investing in something, financially investing in buying material, time investment, like 1 weekend day, pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And, when I rent it to somebody, I really have to check myself and say, like, I think it's going to go really good, and I think the people are going to be really happy, and I think everyone's going to take care of everything. But if that doesn't happen, I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
I have to be okay. It has to be okay.
Yeah.
Because, you don't do this type of work expecting the outcome to be what you want. You do it because you hope the outcome is going to be what you want. And
you do it because you want
because you believe that it could be that way.
And like we have these ideals, and we want the world to be a better place. We want resources to be distributed equally. We want everyone to have access to all the things. I want all the people to have access to all the things I have access to. And currently that's not always the case. And so I think when we're doing these things, we just need to check ourselves, and we're doing this to put out into to make a better world, and that sometimes it's not going to look exactly how we see it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Or your flowers will get mowed.
Yeah. And next year
or someone will steal your siding. Like it's gonna happen.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Windswept smoke.
Yeah, the windswept smoke. Yeah, someone's got 4 or 5 boxes of it sitting out there.
That was such a crazy situation. Oh my gosh, go back and listen to Windswept Smoke, you guys, because if you haven't heard that one, that was a roller coaster of a day. I just remember.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whew. Yeah, ups and downs.
I should have just moved it to the garage, but.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Busy doing other stuff.
Now you know.
Now I know. But
back to the design thinking, it's ups and downs, and it's I feel like life is not all. What is it? Life is all not
linear.
Linear. It's bumps in the road, and it's up and down, and that's how life works.
Yeah. I would say though that typically, if you are engaged in a life that tries to enact change, that it is more ups than downs.
Yeah.
But I was just caution anybody to assume that it's always going to be ups.
And I feel like it's the surprising ups where you're like, wow, I didn't expect that, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. And the downs are things that you can learn something.
Yeah.
But the thing, like with the windswept smoke and the siding, like the thing I learned wasn't just put the siding in the garage.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Like that could be what I learned.
Yeah.
But
that'd be a good thing for you to learn.
That would have been a good thing to learn. But there was so much stuff in the garage. It was like garden season.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. But the thing, you learn about how people care about you. Like when I would mention it to somebody and they got mad. They were as mad as I was, or angrier about it.
It's like when the flowers got stolen off the front, and people were ready to throw down to get these these $10 flowers back.
Right. And so you learn. Those are great times. If you can, train yourself to think about it like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I'm going to learn something from.
Yeah.
I'll learn the obvious lesson, but there's also going to be some other things that can help me along my way that are not so obvious.
Yeah. That's great.
Meg, you got anything that you want to plug?
I think. Okay, let me think this through for a second. I feel like as we were walking over here, I thought, Honeybee Sage is just great. I feel like I always am plugging that, but it's a great business that, especially in the wintertime, their honey is great. Like their tea and their honey are incredible. So if you haven't gone there, it's over on MLK. Oh, I should also say the Thrive On building. I've gone there a few times now. Kinship Cafe has an incredible lunch restaurant. I think it's only open 10 till 2, but I've gotten the tandem chicken sandwich now twice, and it is awesome.
Nice.
Yes. But it's like, I feel like it's a little bit hard to find. So it's on the new Thrive On, which is over on MLK. And it's just Google it, but it's great. So Kinship
Awesome.
Cafe, Thrive On. I don't know if we have enough time, but I would love to hear a little bit about how the rental stuff is going.
Sure. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving along. Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
it's-
you're working yesterday on it, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, we got a bunch of the electrical
nice.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the house gets completely rewired. So it helps having a dad that's an electrician.
Yeah.
Which is very
true.
useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, just little by little. Yeah,
That's
so
good.
there won't be any outlets in the entire building that aren't new.
Nice.
You know, it'll all be 2024, 2025. So,
Yeah. Which
it-
is that like the year or?
well, I mean, all of it will have been done in
Okay.
2024.
I didn't know if that
or
was like
2025.
like an electrical thing or.
No, versus like 1940.
Oh gosh.
Like I would probably, I think that most people would prefer to be using
Was it really 1940? That like is that electrical
or earlier.
from 2 houses down?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all the electrical, like it wouldn't shock me if these houses were built before
Yeah.
electrical.
Yeah.
People had electric in their house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a
Historian?
not an electrical historian.
Maybe you should add that to your tool belt.
Maybe. But yeah, like knob and tube wiring was like the first type.
Yeah.
And then they kind of would go through and cut, big holes in the walls and then replaster to run like cloth covered wire, and it breaks down over time.
Wow.
And it's the type of stuff that, specifically in a rental, like if there's something that's not like perfect in my own house, I can tell you and the kids like, don't jiggle that outlet, But like in a rental, like I can't.
Yeah.
I can't leave it so that it's like, hey, tenant, don't jiggle this.
Okay, do we have stuff like in our house that don't jiggle it?
I'll tell you, and this is something that I'm proud of. There is more. There's very little old wiring in our house.
Okay.
In where we live.
Yeah.
There is more in our house than all of the other houses
More
combined.
old.
More old.
Well, that's,
and so
I don't
feel
know.
good about
I
that.
guess I feel good about that, but
It's
I
fine.
also am in that house.
Just don't jiggle.
all the time.
Just don't be jiggling things. Nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But so we're working on that, and then I can close because you got to cut holes in the walls.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
then all new lights and things.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
because when they would wire a house back in the day, they wired it for how people lived. Let's call it
Sure.
1940.
Okay.
So they wired a house for like what people would do in 1940.
Yeah.
Which would be like you'd have like one lamp.
Yeah. You wouldn't have like 6 cords going to.
Yeah, you wouldn't have all of your stuff
There's
plugged
no
in.
computers.
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't like, you wouldn't have a hair dryer, for example,
Yeah.
which draws a lot of power.
Sure, yeah.
And so,
That's so weird.
you go into some of these old houses and there isn't an outlet in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Or there's one and that outlet is also on the same circuit as both of your bedrooms and your living room
Yeah.
and your kitchen
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
So, it's not like, certainly the wiring isn't, space heaters aren't something that should be
Yeah,
wired into
yeah,
there or
yeah.
put in, and air conditioners draw a lot of power. So,
Yeah.
just do it all,
Yeah.
get it all out of there, redo it all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's going good.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Excited for it to keep moving along.
Yep. Little by little.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.